Buzz TV's DISHIN Days of Our Lives 50th anniversary special. Today is the day, November 8th, 1965. Days of Our Lives premiered their first episode, and 50 years later, we have had a whirlwind of storylines, characters, and many memorable moments, and we want to share them with you. I am your host, Tony Moore, and I am joined by my wonderful co-host. We will start with the guy whose hair is higher than the 50th anniversary of Days.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that.
We have
Mark J. Freeman in the house.
And of course, we have my chocolate twin.
That's right, James Lott Jr.
And look, we're all wearing purple.
We're all wearing purple. We're anti-bully today.
Yeah,
Anti-bully.
It's a purple day.
Yeah.
Purple day.
Although
In honor of Will. Our long lost Will.
Yes.
Oh, and of course, we are also going to give you guys a chance to call in and share with us your favorite moments and characters and things like that. So make sure you stay tuned. We are here. We're all decorative. We have our balloons to celebrate. We've got pizza rolls. We've got apple cider. So we are ready. So let's get started. First up, memorable storylines. So for you guys, what was your most memorable storyline?
I don't remember what I wrote down.
So, it starts off with me first. And it starts off with, because my mother watched Days of Our Lives, my older sister watched Days of Our Lives in the late 70s when she was barely having babies. And so I caught pieces of birthing babies at home. And so I caught parts of Days of Our Lives back then. And one that really stuck out to me, which was a really serious storyline, was Marlena's first husband, well, on the show, Don Craig, they lost their baby to SIDS.
Yeah.
It was back in 1980, and I couldn't find a picture of the baby. It was only a 3-month-old baby anyway, but they had a couple pictures that were just not, they were too fuzzy. But that was with Jed Allen, who went on to CC Capwell fame on Santa Barbara, and did fill in as Alan Quartermain for a minute on General Hospital. Anyway, so it was but back then they really didn't do killing kids. It was an early thing, or babies.
Right. They didn't kill it. I mean, it just.
I mean the soap. I meant the soap meaning killing.
Right.
The soap killing. And usually, either they would have miscarriages back then,
right?
But they didn't do that. Oh my god,
these pizza rolls didn't.
They left.
I haven't eaten yet.
So anyway, so that was to me a really big one. The baby died to SIDS, and that was Don Jeremiah Craig Jr.
Nice.
The full name there.
And you got another one.
I have another one. This one I like so much, and I actually got a chance to talk to Austin Peck about this when we did the Spotlight On not too long ago. And you can find that, of course, on our page. It was the Austin Carey Mike triangle, and why it was memorable for me was that it was three nice people.
Yeah,
that triangle.
True. Yeah. And it was different because we were so used to Austin, Carey, Sammy.
Yes.
And then now we input Mike, and we're like, oh, Carey, you got two nice guys to go after.
And Mike Horton was in love with her first. It was like he came to her kind of. They were friends.
Yeah.
They're both from these prominent families, the Bradys and the Hortons, and they were friends. And he was a doctor, and he was a good stand-up guy. And she was so busy. Yeah, she was so busy with the whole Sammy and Lucas and all that. It was kind of like a nice, refreshing change.
Yeah.
To see, but it was still bad because she still kind of kissed, Mike and behind Austin's back, and Austin walked. It was a lot of drama, but it was three nice people in a triangle. You just don't really see that very much. And I could see her with either one. It was like I could see either one.
But is it weird that during that time I really wanted Sammy to be with Austin?
Oh.
I really did.
I think a lot of people did.
I was all about Sammy and Austin.
Oh.
And when they did this triangle, I was like, Sammy and Austin, yay, now Carey has Mike, so I'm good.
That's very interesting. Okay.
I was rooting for them.
You were around.
Yeah. So, Mark, what was your favorite?
Well, the first thing that popped into my head was, and I literally to this day can remember this happening. I remember being in my dorm, Taylor Tower at Ohio State. Go Bucks.
Go Bucks.
And watching Billy say goodbye to Bo, and I'm not even like.
Were you bawling?
Uncontrollably. Like, I literally think I even had to put a pillow in my face because the people in the next room would have been like, what's that queen doing?
Yeah.
I wasn't out then. I was liking girls then. But I just remember just that, and her and then when she at the very end when she's leaving, and he's like, I don't want you to leave. And she's like, If You Love Me, You'll Let Me Go. To this day, I just tears me apart. Tears me apart. Loved it. And then the other one that I thought of that I again pattern was the Maison Blanche with Lisa and Lisa Renat or Billy, the original Billy. That was another fun storyline with Kristen Demira.
But how did you feel about them reversing? Because remember, during that same time was George's death, the baby that became Chelsea later. Yeah. How did you feel about them reversing that and saying that she didn't?
I honestly remember when she died, thinking they're gonna come. She's gonna come back. Eventually she'll come back.
The baby Georgia.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that she's not really dead.
When Billy was played by Krista Allen.
Who?
For the record, some of us did like Krista Allen also portrayed.
I'm sure she's a wonderful lady, and if she'd love to come join us on AfterBuzz, we'd love to have her.
Yeah, of course.
But, girl Lisa.
Well, speaking of babies, my memorable storyline was the baby switch with Nicole and Sammy. And it was such a dramatic moment when Sammy
those two slaps.
finally confronted Nicole about it, and she was like, "Say it." She was like, "Say what?" Say it. And I was just like, oh my God, that is like the slap heard. I mean,
she slapped her twice, though.
There have been many slaps and punches, but I just remember that moment was kind of like it was one of anything that involves Sammy, that it's going to be like a big, huge thing. It's going to be very drama filled. And I just remember sitting there going, "Oh, girl, you about to get it." So
there it is. Yeah,
that was my memorable storyline.
That was a great because again it was because she just. Because remember, Sammy they just lost Grace, which wasn't really her baby,
right?
And it was really Mia and Chad. There was a whole thing with that. And then when she finally found out, when she confronted Nicole, it was like, oh my God! But when she slapped her twice, it was just like, I want to hear you say it. No, I want to hear you say it. No, she slapped. I mean, and that slap was like the weight of the situation in the hand.
Yes. But you also kind of felt bad for Nicole because that she desperately wanted a kid. Right. She wanted to hold on to EJ at the time, and she went through this whole. I mean, the work that she put in to try to keep this baby was like a lot. Yes. So that was a very memorable favorite storyline for me.
I like that one.
Yeah.
I wrote down a whole bunch that people are mentioning in the chat room. Okay. The Cruise of Deception.
Yes.
Sammy on death row.
Oh yes. Yeah, because she was on death row for Franco's murder.
The Coronation Massacre of 2001.
God, that was so crazy. Yes.
Oh yes.
I don't think I was watching then either.
It was Princess Greta.
Yeah, Princess Greta. Okay. There's a coronation. Austin was there and everybody.
We talked about these off camera. Carly being buried alive.
Yes, that's right.
Which you never got to see.
I didn't get to see.
My God.
And then Marlena's possession.
Of course. Obviously. I think when anyone relates Days of Our Lives, they related to Marlena being possessed.
Well, and you know what I thought, and I don't remember if we said this on air, but when Eric was here, Eric Martzoff, I said that right?
Yes, you did. Okay. You said it correctly.
I know I always say it wrong. He mentioned this, which I thought was very interesting. I had no idea. We were talking about Passions, and he said that Passions actually was created because of the Marlena being possessed by the devil storyline.
Well, here's the deal. James E. Riley, who came on in the 90s and wrote all those whimsical, crazy storylines. Right. NBC said, here's the soap for you. And they gave him Passions. So it really was really because of Marlena. It was so true. And then he went on to write all those crazy storylines. But yeah, that was a time period where, for those of you, I'm the historian, of course. Young and the Restless has been number one soap since 1980 something. It has not been unseated. That time period, it came very close. Days of Our Lives went to number 2. It was almost number 1 several times, and it was a Carly Buried Alive and a Possession storyline. Even though the Possession storyline was so polarizing. People hated it. People loved it. I loved it. People loved it, and they were doing amazing work on daytime. They were doing amazing, special effects and everything. But it almost went number 1. Because it was so different, and it changed the course of Days of Our Lives, where now Days was known they could do anything they wanted on a soap. Other soaps tried it, as you would say, and it didn't work. They would try like whimsical stuff, and it was like, it doesn't work. But on Days of Our Lives, they could do Gemini twins later. All these things. They could do all these things because it opened up a whole new world for that soap.
Speaking of a whole new world, don't know how this transitions, but let's talk about the slew of characters that have been on Days. James, who's your favorite character on Days of Our Lives?
Well, I'm sure those of you out
Melanie.
there are so shocked to hear this. But the reason why I am sitting here in this chair, the reason why my Twitter name is Black Hope LA or my Instagram name is L Black Hope, the reason why I have come to Days of Our Lives is because of Christian Alfonso, my favorite character, Hope Williams.
Wait a minute. That's why it's Black Hope LA? You tried it. I never knew that either. So you trying to say that you're the Black Hope?
I am. Thank you.
Hashtag done. y'all thought hashtag Maxine's son was something. Let's talk about the L Black Hope over here.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that, and that's that. My close friends know that, but a lot of people don't know that. My family know, but that's.
I had no idea.
I saw her as a fresh-faced 18-year-old, and I was in. And I've already talked enough about her on the show, so I want to go to my other favorite ones. But Hope, of course, is my favorite. But my other favorite is actually the character of Roman Brady. It's such a fascinating, and it was played by two guys, not actors, but two different guys. Right, even though they had Wayne Northrop and three or four. But
there's John Black.
But I mean, like, there's two guys. Just in total, there's with Carrie, with former Carrie. I'm just meaning there are two guys, both who think they're Roman Brady at one point.
Yeah.
And they both live these parallel lives. And they mentioned it not too long ago on an episode of how their lives were like, they both call her Doc, Marlena Doc. They both raised the children. They kind of didn't raise. I mean, it's such an interesting storyline that worked and continues to affect change today. It affects Sammy, it affects Carrie, it affects everybody. But they both, I mean, and we suspended disbelief that Drake Hogerson is like 2 inches taller than, Wayne Northrop was or Josh Taylor, but it just seemed it really worked. Yeah. And I just love the character because we're still trying to figure out who John Black is, but the fact that there were two people who were Roman Brady and this whole thing was just an interesting thing for me.
Mark?
Sorry, I'm just writing down stuff from the chat room to tell you later. So what are we doing? Favorite character? Let me think.
Yeah, who's gonna say?
Who would be my favorite character?
We don't have that much time.
Chad Demira. So Chad, obviously. And then my boy Jack.
Of course.
And my girl Lisa. I think those are my top three. Yeah. I think those are hands down my favorites. I mean, Chad being the newest addition to that family. I just think that Jack, he just is, I don't know. I really hope they do bring him back. I just think there's so much there. And that, I won't talk about it yet. Sorry.
Well, mine has always been Stefano.
He's a good one.
Because when I first started watching Days, he was, I'm such a nice guy. and so to see like this villain who like everyone was afraid of and like who did the most devious stuff, I was like, whenever I get a chance, I'm gonna play Stefano's son. And this is back before hashtag Maxine's son. I want to play Stefano's son. But I was just like, I mean, he did some of the most bizarre, crazy things, but like he was always that character that I was like, I want to play your son. I want to be just as evil and devious as you are.
But he loved his family too. So there was a two dimension there that he's a phoenix, of course, and he always rises. But he loved his children.
Yes,
and that's the most thing about Stefano is so tragic, is that almost all of his children just die.
Yeah.
That's a tragic part. Well, he can't save them.
Yeah, they've all been dying off.
Yes.
Mark, what are some favorite characters from the chat room?
Jack, Bo, Lucas, Nicole, Allison Sweeney, Chelsea, Belle, and
Alex
then
Marshall.
I don't
from the 70s and 80s.
Alex Marshall
involved with Maggie storyline, Gloria Loring's character. I forgot her name right now.
And what was that was another character. Who was the singer?
Liz Chandler.
Yeah.
Liz Chandler, Neil Curtis. It was that whole time period. So yes, I know who Alex Marshall is. Yes.
So lots of love out there, and I think Melanie was mentioned too, but whatever.
Yeah. Melanie, I love it.
Oh my gosh. So speaking of Melanie, I don't know how these all transitions, but I just like to use the last thing to try to transition to the next thing.
I saw a stand-up comic once, and all the transitions were like not good transitions. It was hysterical. Like he just did the whole stand-up like that. Like speaking of toaster strudel, I was shopping at, or it was,
Right,
it was
right.
something completely different, you
Yes.
know? It was like,
Well, speaking of toaster strudel, now we all know that like there have been some really crazy moments
Yes.
on Days of Our Lives,
Yes,
and
yes,
those
yes.
moments have made us go, "What you thinking, Days?"
Yes.
So for you, James, what has been your craziest moments
Well,
from the show?
one of them, and it just was such an outrageous story that kind of worked thanks to Dan Wells. Who don't you know him or knew him? Dan Wells, who plays Stan.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so he played because Andre came up with this whole storyline where Sammy was going to pretend to be a man named Stan, and and he totally had her mannerisms.
Yeah.
Like it totally worked. It was so thanks to Dan Wells, he sold the story. I mean, writing was good too, of course, but he sold the story. And when it was exposed, it actually was also sweet. It was just one of the craziest stories I had never seen before in my entire life.
I think it was the craziest thing that someone could do in order, because I think at that time Allison Sweeney was pregnant.
Yeah, she was pregnant.
And
yes.
so, of course, being such a matriarch of the show, you know, they didn't want to, you know, let her go,
Right,
obviously.
right.
So they came up with this storyline. And I just remember thinking, like, you know me, being the fan, just give it to me and I'll take it with open arms. But I was just like, okay. We'll see how this goes.
But again, because of the other outrageous storylines they put out, they could do it.
Yeah.
It was like okay, I can see this. Okay, this
Yeah.
could work. It just was, but it was so outrageous. It was just so outrageous. But I was totally enthralled.
Yeah.
And I wanted to find a role for him to stay on the show.
I know.
He was so good.
Shout out to Dan Wells.
Dan Wells,
Great job.
contact me on Twitter. Say hi,
Right.
Black Hope LA.
And then now every time I hear Black Hope LA,
You
it's
get
I know.
a different meaning.
Yeah.
What other for you, James?
This one was actually on the reverse. It was crazy, but it was so heart wrenching and shocking to me. It was the Salem Stalker storyline because they were going through and killing all these people that were major characters, and I was like, oh, they're really doing it. And at first I was thinking, they're really committing to this. They're really killing off Abe, and they're killing off Roman, and they're killing off Maggie, and they were killing him in the ways that like hers with a bottle of booze,
Yeah.
and Alice with the donut. It was
Yes.
and it was like
Fantastic.
Marlena's killing them. Like what?
Yeah.
And so, but it was just such a thing that, and in the news, because I read Soap Opera Digest every week, and Soap Opera Weekly when it used to be up, and they were saying they were off the show, like they were gone. They were acting as if everybody was gone.
Yeah.
Then suddenly, no one's dead. They're on Muslim.
Muslim.
Yes.
Okay, so that was during the time that
So you did watch?
Yes.
Okay, go.
And I think I might have mentioned this on the show before, but like that's when internet was still kind of new.
Yeah.
And so I would like go online to see like whose contract was up, like are these people, and,
Right.
and I think during that time, if I remember correctly, they were making changes just very similar to what they did recently, and they were going to get rid of certain people.
Yeah, right.
I think there were some people who did not come back, but like some major players were really supposed to not
guess so.
come back.
But they didn't.
And then suddenly they were all
there.
on this island.
I love it. But Alice is sitting there
Yes.
like, wait a minute.
But I was like you, like the killings what happened, and it was so heart wrenching,
It was.
and it was so like, oh my God, no, not Maggie.
When Kate comes out in that bloody red dress,
Roman.
when she just got married, and,
Yeah.
and she was like, ah! I was like, oh my God, I was in.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's
totally.
crazy.
Yeah.
Mark, how about you?
Well, I guess that mine isn't as crazy as those, but it was probably the thing that is still kind of like in my head that I just remember. I just like going, did that just happen? Was when Paul kissed Sonny.
Oh yeah,
Because like I said, I had no idea. I
that's right.
I don't know if they mentioned it in like Soap Opera Digest or anything that he was going to be a gay character. It just completely pulled the rug out from under me. I had no idea that was happening.
Yeah, because he was like flirting with Teresa.
Yeah,
that's
and flirting
right,
with everyone.
that's right,
Everybody, yeah.
And then all of a sudden he went, and we all went,
What?
That's true. We did. I remember that.
I mean, that was a
Excuse your face?
good kept secret. I will say that.
That was a good kept secret.
And I
That was good.
appreciated that. I wish they kept more secrets.
yeah. For me,
That's for you.
and again, this is when I was starting to watch Days, and this storyline was happening. But like, Days had this thing where everyone kept getting locked in a cage.
Yes.
And for me, the first one was Marlena.
Oh yeah, Queen of the Night.
Queen of the Night, Stefano had locked her away in this cage, and I just remember thinking, why is this lady locked in a cage? Why is he so obsessed with her? What is going on? And this was like one of many times. Marlena was locked in this cage. She was locked in that
home.
secret room with Kristen and that sort of.
What's her name went crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there was Sean Douglas, who Crazy Jan became obsessed with him and locked him in a cage.
That's
I love
right.
Jan.
And I was just like, these people are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Is that Jan?
No, that's
Sean Douglas.
That's Sean Douglas. Jason Cook.
Oh, okay.
Remember,
okay.
he had the,
I can't see that
was very
lens.
90s. They had the hair that went to here. It was very, very Hanson.
Very Ace of Base.
Yeah.
I had that hair.
I had that hair too.
Yeah. So, speaking of crazy, what about the wackiest characters on Days? Because there have been some very,
did you want me to mention some of the things
Oh,
that
I'm sorry. Before we go into that, some of the things that people in the chat room have been saying have been the craziest moments.
Yeah, the alien abduction of Eugene.
Okay.
Oh, okay, yes. Okay, enough. I was that time period. Okay, yes.
Well, someone wrote Killing Will.
Well, I agree with that one. That is
Crazy.
That's crazy.
Too soon? The Gemini twins,
Yes.
the New Salem, and Susan Banks, which I think is also
We'll be talking about her soon. Don't
Yes.
worry.
Speaking of soon,
Yes. Actually, that was a good transition.
let's go.
Speaking of pizza rolls, I'm going to eat the last one.
Let's go to
I ate 'em all.
our craziest, wackiest characters on the show, because there have been some very crazy ones, and I actually just thought of another one. But
what are others? There are people like Ralph and
they were all on Stefano's team.
Bart. Yeah, Bart. They're all they're all on his kind of payroll.
Yeah.
They're kind of crazy.
But Mark, who was your wacky character?
Well, I did those were the days about her.
Yes, you did.
Mm-hmm.
Calliope, my
Yes.
girl Calliope. The Hollywood hat. I had to use that picture. She just was so much. I really hope that she comes back. And I keep thinking every time they talk about when Teresa's talking about like fashion design, because she started off as a fashion designer, that she'll maybe come back and work for Teresa or something.
That would actually be really
Arlene
good.
Sorkin, where are you?
Right?
Yeah.
Where are you?
James, what about you?
Mine, because that actually is as a segue, the Banks quadruplets. I'm trying because it's funny because there's five. I mean, Eileen Davidson
Amazing.
should have got an Emmy then.
Yeah.
She got it later.
Yeah.
But she should have got it during the story because she was amazing. Because each character, let me tell you who they are. They were Thomas Banks, Susan Banks, Penelope Kent, Sister Mary Moira. And then she played, of course, Kristen. And to me, each one had their own distinctive character.
Yeah.
She played a man.
Yeah.
And it was almost like odd, and and her being a man on playing a male character, there was always these rumors that she was a man, all this kind of stuff back in the day. So it was a nice little kick in the face to the critics just about that. She actually played one on here.
Yeah.
And she was so good. Oh my God. She was just amazing. So they were wacky, they were crazy, they were just, I just did forever.
I loved it. I especially
Is
loved
the guy
Susan.
not on there? The guy wasn't on there?
Yeah, he was up at the top.
Oh, okay.
For me, and I mean, this started off kind of wacky for me,
Yes.
was Rex and Cassie.
Oh, yeah.
First of all, how does a meteor shower deliver two twins who are to Salem
That's how me and my twin were born.
through a meteor? You know what? It explains a lot.
I knew you were going to
It
say
explains
that.
I didn't say that.
But how they started, how they introduced Rex and Cassie for me
Yes.
was a little bit crazy
Out there.
for me, and the fact that they knew who their parents were, but they were keeping it a secret because they wanted to be Damaris. I mean, of course, who wouldn't want to be a
He
Damaris?
just said it right. He just said it. That's right.
But I was just like, okay, Days.
Well, the whole like aluminum outfits, and she had the little tight outfit.
Yes.
And they were laying like little. I mean, it's just
They were like in a cocoon,
yeah,
really.
like,
Like,
yeah. And it was the oddest storyline, but I wasn't enthralled. Like what they're going to do. So Rex and Cassie, they didn't keep them on long enough. They were.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have become really something big, and they didn't do it.
Yeah. So, Mark, what are some of the?
They're most of the people we've said are agreeing
agreeing
with.
with.
The other
Stella,
people that they mentioned were Jan of all people,
Of course.
Spears.
and then Vivian,
Of
Yes,
course.
Vivian, Yvonne.
Bart, which I think we also mentioned, Mimi.
Oh, well, she was interesting.
Yeah, so
I liked
those
her
are,
later.
Those are the ones.
Didn't like
Yeah.
her in the beginning, but yeah.
and then the other ones that we.
Yeah, it was Stella put Marlena at Pitt. That's right. Rusty Spigot.
Yeah. Now, Days of Our Lives have actually had quite a few celebs who have come on and made cameos, not of themselves, but they play characters for like a couple of episodes. And I'm just going to run through a few of them. Leanne Rimes, Ross Matthews, Kyle Richards from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
That's right.
Who was that?
Kyle Richards. She played Gabby's agent.
Yeah, so she had a
Yeah. Nate Burkus, Smokey Robinson, Kathy Griffin.
Yeah,
That's
I
right.
remember
Yes,
that.
that's right.
Yeah. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Help me out, James Lott Jr.
Al Jarreau.
Al Jarreau, that's
Love
him.
Great singer.
Michael Bublé, Shirley Jones, and Patty Stangler, the millionaire matchmaker,
Patty Stanger,
was
yes.
on there as well.
Someone else you forgot.
Who else did I forget?
Tony Moore.
What?
That's right. Tony Moore was on there.
Well, the thing is that I'm still on there.
Donald Trump on?
At least I think so. Huh?
Was Donald Trump on?
Maybe he was.
He was actually.
Pamela Anderson?
I didn't know about Pamela Anderson.
I know about Pamela Anderson either.
Are there some that
Those are
people in the chat
Those are the
room?
only two that I've seen pop
Yeah,
up.
but Donald Trump was on there as well.
Boo. I think Tracy. Boo.
So really quickly, there are some characters that we might have forgotten that we're gonna kind of remember them. So Mark, who's a memorable, forgettable character?
So forgettable, you didn't even know who it was
I know.
when I put it on the Google Doc.
Right.
Pocket!
I feel like I've heard the name, like they've said
She
it like
mentioned
a
it
few times.
recently.
Yeah.
She mentioned it recently.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, please don't bring back Pocket. It was just such a dumb, like, I was like, come on. Like,
Yeah.
Pocket?
Yeah.
Oh, I do remember that now. Okay.
And I don't even remember the reason behind why Clay Aiken was on the show too.
Oh, yes.
Farrah Fawcett. Sorry. Yeah, I don't remember the reason why they named him Pocket. I'm sure somebody can tell me in the chat room. Sharon Osbourne.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, well, someone's mentioning Joey from Friends. Well, that was like a story. I mean, it was a storyline on
yeah.
Friends. He played Dr. Drake Ramore.
Yeah.
And they kind of had a little crossover. I remember I mentioned that earlier in Look Who's Related or whatever. So it was kind of, he was kind of on there, I guess.
Yeah. I don't. Do you remember why they named him Pocket?
I believe because they found it was. God, why did they name him Pocket?
If somebody knows and can.
Yeah,
put it in the chat
I'm
room,
blanking out on
that'd
that
be
one. It wasn't a storyline I liked.
Yeah, it was. They adopted him or something.
Yeah, they adopted him.
But then he was gone. I don't know.
For me, my memorable character is Crystal Miller, who was played by Ashley Holland, but she has now changed her name to Holland Reed. Okay. And little story behind it. Holland Reed, now, she was back then she was Ashley Holland. I know it gets confusing.
That's her?
Yes. She played a psychic who came into Salem. She had ties to Colleen Brady, and she delivered a message because John had died at that time. She said that she had a letter from John, and she also kidnapped Claire, and it was a very short time. Yeah.
Okay.
But Holland Reed, back then, Ashley Holland, she won a competition called I Want to Be a Soap Star.
I remember that series. Yes.
And
did you try out?
I did.
I interviewed Mark Teschner, who did the first season of that.
Yes. So I remember the first season, the winner got on General Hospital. And I said, if they ever did Days of Our Lives, I was going to do it. So the next season came out, and they did Days of Our Lives. And I went to Atlanta.
Oh, how funny.
And I auditioned. I thought I did. No. Actually, I actually auditioned for the show twice.
Oh.
I auditioned once in New York and totally bombed my monologue, and then I went again in Atlanta. But actually, Holland was the winner. And that's how she got the role of Crystal, and she was actually supposed to start immediately after she won, but they actually waited to create a really good storyline for her.
Okay.
So it could have been me.
Could have been you. Oh,
But it was her. Well, actually, it couldn't have been me because I didn't get that far. So that was that.
But I just want to mention really briefly, I just thought it was just one in my brain right now, just really briefly, Maria Toscano, who was played by Hunter Tylo, who back then was going by Deborah Morehart or whatever, and she would later on see Bold and Beautiful fame as Taylor. But it was such a forgettable, it was like she was Isabella's sister, and she was bad, and she had problems with Bo, but she ended up dying. But it's you know her from other stuff, from suing or spelling for also things. But she was on for a minute, so I just want to mention her.
They're saying that he was named Pocket because he was born early and was tiny.
That sounds familiar.
I think that kind of, and it turned out that he was Tyler Kyriakis, Philip's son.
That's right. Oh my God, it's Tyler Kyriakis. He's out there. It's Philip's son. Yes, that's right.
Marissa has a message for you.
I know. When I did it, I was like, oh.
So speaking of messages. Our favorite dual characters, which these are actors who played two different characters.
Yes.
So for me, mine was always Princess Gina.
This Gina. Oh
I loved when Christian Alfonso not only played Hope, but she also played Princess Gina. And there used to be times where Hope would transition into
Yes.
Princess Gina.
Yes.
And the way Christian Alfonso did it, it was so like you knew she went from Hope to Princess Gina, and the way she
I
carried
agree.
herself, and her whole demeanor was totally different.
Who's Black Hope? Who's your
Who's your Princess Gina
Who's
to
your
your Black
Princess
Hope? Are you Black Gina too?
who's your Sasha Fierce? Who's your Sasha Fierce?
Yeah, but no, I agree with you. She did a wonderful job because also when she played when she was older, and they gave her a really good story. Her and John, they were thieves, and then her and Greta, she was like a mentor to Greta. But it was a whole, I mean, it was.
And Princess Gina and John were like in love with each other.
Yes, it was a great. I agree with you. Kristen did a great job.
I loved it.
That's a good one.
Mark, how about you?
I thought of the whole storyline with Sammy and EJ when they were playing Colleen and Santos.
Oh, yeah.
For that whole storyline, which ended up being a pile of nothing.
Apparently, right.
Yeah.
They're trying to go.
It was all lies.
It was all lies, I guess, or something. So.
But,
Well, one phone call changes it all.
you know.
I also want to mention no one knew the character's name, but I looked it up and I think I'm right. But they named him Arnold Finnegan.
That's his name. Yeah.
Faux Rafe.
Yes.
So during this time, Rafe was in an accident and was in the hospital. Stefano kidnapped him and sent this guy who looked just like Rafe, but was dumb as a box of rocks, to break up him and Sammy's marriage. And I just remember that, like, whenever Galen Gehring switched over to, like, Dumb Rafe, as I called him, like, the guy was just so dumb.
He was. I remember he couldn't get together.
No.
Could not get it together.
And then he started being like, of course, like everyone, they decided to, like, do things on their own instead of paying attention to what they were going to do. And then the whole thing got exposed. So
funny.
That was that. So
there were two others that they mentioned, and I forget her name. I'm sure somebody you'll probably know.
Tamara Braun played
Ava Vitale and Taylor Walker.
She's coming back as Ava.
And then we talked about this actually off camera, was Judy Evans doing Bonnie and Adrian.
Yes. So now, of course, the most memorable best weddings. I, of course, put all of Sammy's weddings because they all had something attached to it, whether she was being exposed for Will or Carrie exposing her to Austin.
Or Franco getting shot.
Yes. There was just... So all of Sammy's weddings, for me, are always memorable.
Yes, I agree. I completely agree. I mean, the one way, especially the one with Carrie, when she slapped her, it was like, I win.
And she fell to the floor.
She sure did. I was
and
like,
then wasn't there one when she married Lucas that a video played or something? The last time she married Lucas, didn't Kate play a video or something and revealed something about her?
Was it a video?
I feel like there was a video.
There was that was Kristen and Brady's wedding,
that for sure.
with the video with her and Eric.
Right. No, but I feel like there was at the Brady pub, and they were playing, like, they thought they were going to play a video of, like, pictures of them, like they normally do, and it ended up being, like, hacked, and something got exposed. If somebody
I remember, I think it was Kate or someone playing a tape confession of
that could be it or
EJ kidnapping Sydney.
Oh, maybe that's what
so maybe
and it was right before that wedding. So there's that one. Mark, what about your...
I said Jack and Jennifer.
Well, it's classic.
It was classic. It was just like... It was back when they did the big weddings.
Yes.
And that was probably one of the last big ones.
That was at a rodeo, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or a zoo or something. It was like
wasn't it like a western?
Yeah, it was a western
town or something like that, because they were on horses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
A video of Kate and EJ, maybe somebody wrote. Oh, Lucas and Sammy with EJ raping her.
I don't know about that. So speaking of, well, no, that's not a good transition. Let's go into storylines that you wish, because we're going to run out of time, and I want to make sure that we get fans to call in. So fans, stay tuned, because we're going to have you call in. But storylines that you guys wish you watched.
Yes, quickly. My mother used to watch Days of Our Lives before I did. And I used to catch bits and pieces, but I wish I had known Doug and Julie's storyline. It went on for about 15 years, and they were the biggest I saw my mother the other day, and she's like, they were the biggest super couple on soaps and on TV, period. They made Time magazine, which didn't happen back in 1976. This was pre-Luke and Laura on General Hospital, pre-anybody else. They were number one. I mean, they were the huge one. She was like the heroine on the show who was also kind of bad, and he was like this ne'er-do-well guy who was with her mother, and that's why Hope became, progenited. It was a big storyline. I wish I could have watched the whole thing.
For me, it was Marlena being possessed.
Which I'm shocked you weren't watching.
I know. Like, I sometimes go on YouTube to like find like little clips of when she was possessed, but I don't know. For some reason, it just.
Was there a reason you weren't watching, or you just didn't like it?
No, before I started watching Days, I was one of those people that was like, I don't understand why people watch soap operas and blah, blah, blah. And I started watching it by accident, but it was well after the possession. So, and I always heard of it. So, so characters that you would like to be brought back to the show: James Lott Jr.,
Celeste Perrault. I want Celeste back as Tanya Boyd.
Hello, darling.
Oh, there it is. Hello, I loved her, and she could totally come back and be there for Theo, her grandson Theo.
Yeah,
and also I think she's I love her.
But she's ill, right? Isn't that
Tanya Boyd was supposed to come back when they brought Celeste back, but I think something happened with her, like she fell ill or something, and they weren't able to bring her
back. If you're
well,
Black Up LA on Twitter, please, girl.
Or Black Gina.
Black Gina. But either one.
Mark, the obvious.
Jack.
Hashtag.
Of course. I actually wish they would bring Chelsea Brady back. I think there's some great opportunities for Chelsea, especially with like Teresa being there and like
Sierra. That's her sister.
Yeah, I think there's some good storylines that could possibly happen with Chelsea. So I say that. Well, speaking of Chelsea,
I brought her up.
Some ruined characters or missed opportunities.
Yeah, I thought that she was a missed opportunity and a ruin when they had her kill Zach. It was by accident or whatever. It was like, you killed your own half brother. It was just like there was no. She couldn't go anywhere from there.
Yeah,
it was just really bad. I mean, it was like, how do you come from that? And so I think it was. I agree with you. If they could bring it back with a really good redemption storyline, some kind of. I mean, I think it could totally work. So I think Xander Cook. I think they really made a missed opportunity, making him completely bad and shipping him off. Yeah. Not just the fact that we're Paul Telfer fans. He's great, but he's a Kyriakis. He had so much he could have done.
Yeah.
And for that, I bring you the elephants in the room. I have my own elephant. We've had it for 40 years in my family, and it just reminds me of him, and I think of the elephant. So I was like, ruin opportunity. Should have kept him on the show.
Mark?
I think the last time they brought Jack back was a missed opportunity. I mean, I just had such high expectations for it, and then it was just like, he's here, he's gone.
Yeah,
I agree. And it was just such a waste. He's so good and he's just so charismatic and fun to watch. And
he can do comedy. He can do drama. Matthew Ashford can do all of it. He can do all of it.
I'm going to say Eve. I feel like Eve Larson. I feel like Cassie DePaiva. There's so much they could have played with that.
I agree.
They had some missed opportunities.
I mean, there's so, and also bringing Jack back, to deal with her and Jennifer. God. Like that's just a whole missed opportunity.
Yes,
I don't understand their thinking sometimes.
Don't either.
Now there have been many sets and many places of Salem. What are some of your favorites, James?
Wings. It was owned by Nick Corelli, and so it was a little nightclub, and people could sing there and stuff, and I like that one. And Maison Blanche, of course, which gave us Celeste and everybody. We first saw her there and all that, and I just love there was a whole plantation in Louisiana, which my family's from. It was kind of a cool thing, so it's really liked.
Mark?
I said Salem Place. I miss Salem Place. I also miss going to the NBC studios and walking around Salem Place by myself.
Yeah. I remember when I took the tour, like, we went to Salem Place, and I have a picture of me that's like,
it's so funny, because you would think all the times I've been there, when they had it, I would have taken a picture there, and I don't think I have any pictures of me.
I got a picture of me.
My friend Glenn might have one, because I know I took him once, and they used to use that road over there too. They would use that road to shoot and stuff. I miss that. I mean, they have the town square, but it's not the same that it's not really outside.
Yeah.
You know?
Mine was Java Cafe.
Java Cafe.
Yeah.
I like that because it reminds me of like the whole like little teen,
Yeah,
like, not the first wave of teens like Belle and Philip and all them, but like Chad and Mia and all them. And then of course I love Horton Town Square because I'm often there.
He's often there shopping.
So shocking deaths. What were some deaths that happened on the show that you guys were pretty shocked about?
Back in 1990, I'll never forget it for the rest of my life, when Hope was over the vat of acid with Ernesto Toscano.
Oh, yes.
I thought for sure she was going to come. I was shocked because like 6 months later, she was on Falcon Crest. I was like, wait a minute, she left the show. Like they really, because back then there was no internet or anything.
Yeah.
And so for me as a Hope fan, I was devastated.
Yeah.
And Bo couldn't save her.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
So for me, that's it.
Mine, I think, is Will.
Yeah.
Which I think everybody will agree with.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, we agree with that one.
For obvious reasons.
Mine was Lexi. When Renee Jones announced that she was leaving the show and they gave Lexi, cancer and all that, and she was just rapidly like deteriorating, and then that scene where she was sitting outside with Abe and she just kind of went, and I was just like, no, can you just like let her go somewhere else?
Oh my gosh, the whole chat room is Will.
They are. Wow.
Really?
That is the jumping the shark moment.
Yeah. And our last little thing before we open the chat lines, you guys can call us. We're going to take just a few calls because we only have about 10 minutes in our show. You can call 424-253-0749. Again, that's 424-253-0749. Call us and share your favorite moments from the show very quickly because we want to get in as many calls as we can. Now, recast. Now, of course, on Days, we have had many a recast. And I'm going to remind you of one that didn't last very long. So we had the teen scene with Kristen Storms, who played Belle.
Yeah.
And then everyone just remembers Belle by Kristen Storms and then going to Martha Madison. What you may not remember
And I did.
is a lovely little young woman named Charity Raymer, who played Belle for a very short amount of time. Yeah. And I remember when I was watching Days, I just kept thinking to myself, who is this woman playing Belle? She's it wasn't that great. And so then all of a sudden, one episode, she had longer blonde hair, and then next thing you know, Martha Madison. So
we love Martha.
Yikes. So that was very memorable for me. Mark?
Mine was Robert Kelker Kelly.
Yes.
I mean, other than Billy.
Right.
I was looking at pictures and stuff the other day online, and there was a picture of him and Lisa Rinna, and I was just like, I missed him as Bo. I really liked him as Bo. Not that I have anything against Peter Reckle, but I just loved, maybe it was because he was involved with the Billy storyline, but I just loved them together. He's still so handsome,
Yeah, he's just recently on General Hospital.
Yeah,
he did the Stavros Castanite.
Yeah.
Mine is Christopher Gerst, who played Will. Teenage years, he was kind of gawky, but he totally knew how to handle Sammy. And Lucas, his parents were such a mess. So I liked his portrayal as well.
Yeah. All right, so we are going to open the phone lines to you guys for you to share your favorite moments with us.
Awful.
Yes.
How do you really feel?
Now,
Claudio.
callers, make sure when you call in that you share your moment with us very quickly, so we can get as many in as we can. So we have a caller now. Welcome to AfterBuzz TV. You are on live. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, it's Carolyn calling from Connecticut.
Why, hello, Carolyn.
Hi.
How are you? What's your favorite Days moment or something that you like to share from Days?
Well, I have to say, although a lot of them have been mentioned, I thought the Wilson wedding was super historic, so I thought that was amazing. But I loved the wedding where Steve did some sign language with Kayla. That was very moving to me.
Yeah.
I thought that was really beautiful.
They had a character, I think his name was Benji.
Benji.
Right.
He was deaf.
Right? Yeah, I remember that. Yay. Well, thanks, Carolyn. We're going to take some more callers and some more moments.
I know.
And of course, we're going to be on DISHIN Days right after this, so make sure you stay tuned.
Okie doke. Bye-bye.
All right,
Bye, Carolyn.
We have another caller on with us. Or
maybe.
Oh,
No, we don't.
we lost them all.
No, we don't.
Well, in the meantime,
Oh, I was going to say, I saw this in the chat room. I don't know if you knew this, that Mila Kunis played Hope in a flashback.
Mila Kunis?
No, okay, first of all, Mila Kunis played Hope at age 11, period. She was on the show.
Oh, okay.
She was on the show. That was Mila Kunis' first role, was playing young Hope. I did know that, yes.
Okay.
Quick shout out.
He did.
Of course I did. Of course
he did.
Quick shout out to 127 people who are watching live.
Yay!
And one last time, if you guys want to share your favorite moments with us, make sure you call 424-253-0749, 424-253-0749. Call us with your favorite moment. Now, while we're waiting for calls, I have a surprise for you guys.
Okay.
So something was mentioned a while back, and it has happened, but I'm going to take you back to this little clip to see if you can guess what the surprise is.
She's older than me, yes. I'm happy about that one. I've been watching since 1983.
Finally, somebody older than
Now, I just want to ask you, because one of the things that people like me like to know is, because I said earlier you're a 3-time Emmy winner.
Mm-hmm. Where are your Emmys?
I was supposed to ask him, where are your Emmys?
You need a place to store one.
Yeah. Where are they? Are they door stoppers? What's going on?
Gosh. I love that you don't even know.
No, I do. But I'm afraid to say it because I don't want it to sound okay. I'll just be honest.
Yes.
One is at home with my family.
Yes.
One is at Jeff Ballard's house. And one is I gave away. We had a Halloween party last year, and I had a little bit too much to drink.
Oh my God!
And I decided let's have a costume contest for best costume.
Yeah.
So everybody's lining up, and we have like our panel of judges. And my friend Pat, who you know Lost, the TV show Lost.
Yeah.
Well, he comes dressed up as like depressed Jack Shepherd. Like
how
where he has the beard.
Yeah.
And he even has like the plane ticket.
Oh, how funny.
And he's like walking around.
Well, just to sum up what happened then.
Shocked right now.
So he gave away that Emmy to that winner of the costume party, and after the show, he said, "I'll let you guys hold it for a while." Well, Chandler Massey did not disappoint.
Give me that baby.
I got a picture of
Give me that baby.
I contacted him, and he said, "Yep, I got it back," and I went and picked it up so that we can now have it for a little bit. So
it's heavy.
We have Chandler Massey's 2012.
Should I read it?
Yeah, read it.
40th anniversary 2012-2013 Daytime Entertainment Emmy Awards. Outstanding Younger Actor in a Drama Series, Chandler Massey as Will Horton, Days of Our Lives, NBC.
There it is.
And then what does it say here? The National Academy
of Arts and Sciences.
Television Arts and Sciences.
So that's my surprise.
I am completely in shock.
Now we gotta get pictures of that.
Get pictures of that too. Get pictures of
Put
that.
that in the Twitter sphere.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mark got an Emmy.
So we have time for a quick caller before we wrap things up. So caller, welcome. You are on live. Make sure you turn your volume down. Welcome to AfterBuzz TV. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Tanya.
Hey Tanya, how are you?
Fine, how are you?
Doing great. Tanya, make sure you mute the volume on your computer.
We can hear it.
There we go.
There we go.
Tanya, where are you calling from?
Michigan.
Hey, so tell us your favorite moment, favorite character, favorite couple from Days in celebration of the 50th anniversary.
Well, my favorite couple is Sean and Belle and Jennifer and Jack.
There we go.
And my favorite storyline is when Jack walked in on the wedding of Frankie and Jennifer.
Oh, that's a good one,
That is a
Tanya.
good one. Tanya, how long have you been watching Days?
Since 2000.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Okay, good.
Good.
Since I've been in LA.
Right. Awesome. Well, Tanya, thank you so much for calling, and make
Thank
sure
you,
you
Tanya.
tune in to DISHIN Days right after this, where we're going to give you a full recap of this week's episodes of Days.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Caller, welcome to AfterBuzz TV. You are on live. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Brian, and I'm calling from Elkhart, Indiana.
Hello, from
Midwest.
Indiana. So, Brian, tell us your favorite couple, favorite character, favorite moment from Days of Our Lives in celebration of its 50th anniversary.
Well, I started watching back in the 90s, so I think
too.
my favorite couple of all time is Bo and Billy when Robert Kelker Kelly played Bo.
Yes! Brian, you're my new favorite person on the planet.
One of my favorite storylines with them was when Curtis kidnapped Billy and shot her up after she had tried so hard to get below.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking just any addict that's gone through that, I mean, that's like your worst nightmare possible. And I just thought Lisa Rinna executed that flawlessly.
I agree 100%, Brian. Thank you.
Yep.
Finally, someone on my side.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. And
you can call back anytime, Brian.
And that is it. We have to wrap things up. But before we do, let's give a toast to our favorite Days of Our Lives show. Days of Our Lives, we here at Dishin Days want to wish you 50 more years of fantastic storylines, memorable characters, and all-around great soap opera telling. Here's to you, Days.
In official Days of Our Lives plastic glassware.
Exactly.
I love when they set it down and you can hear that it's plastic. I'm like, oh. And put coffee in the coffee cups for crying out loud. That
They put water in there.
They go to Big Lots.
All right, you guys, that has been our 50th anniversary special. I hope you guys have enjoyed sharing your favorite moments with us and also hearing about our favorite moments from the show. But don't you fret. There is more days coming. Make sure you tune in right after this to a full recap of your favorite soap opera Days of Our Lives for Dishin Days. We'll be right back in A Graveyard's Tale.
Two Chicks or a Lamb's Tail. Two Chicks or a Lamb's Tail. There we go. 137 people. Wow.
Where can they find you?
Oh, well...
On the corner of Vineland and
you can.
I'm Beverly Hills adjacent. Adjacent. You can find me at Lorraine Love, LORAYNE LOVE on Instagram and Twitter, and on Facebook / the Mark J. Freeman.
Black Hope LA on Twitter, and of course James Lott Jr. on Facebook.
All social media platforms at Lounging with Tony, and don't forget you can find us on Facebook and Instagram, Dishin Days. We'll see you in just a few seconds.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.